Have I told you about the app that we're launching in May? It's an AI powered self discovery coach, and the feedback that we're getting has been crazy. Let me give you some. It literally felt like I was talking to a therapist. I loved it. Someone even shared an example of how they used it. So I told the app I don't like confrontation, and that's why I often don't know how to talk to others about how I feel because I don't like arguing. I loved how it literally walked me through how I can start a conversation without feeling like it was going to be a confrontation. Someone else. Love, love, love it. Congrats again. This is going to be great. It launches in May, and I couldn't be more hyped for you to use it. If you haven't already and you want to be the first one to be able to use this, sign up for the app launch waitlist, which is in the show notes, or you can visit our website at plural.com. Like, I thought I was going to take that and maybe get my thoughts out. At best, I'll make like an Instagram or like TikTok clip out of it. I didn't know that was gonna lead to me building up the muscle and comfort to just get my thoughts out on audio and video instead of writing them down. I didn't know that. I didn't know that exercise of at first a little bit uncomfortable was gonna lead to me making podcast episodes that now people even enjoy more than the original episodes. Mi gente, what's good? Welcome to another episode of the Quién, Eres podcast brought to you by Plural. You already know. On Tuesdays, we share someone else's story around their authenticity journey. And on Fridays, I share my own journey. A glimpse essentially into my journal. I'm doing a live, unplanned, unedited audio video journal entry. And it's funny? This series, if you will, has been getting some mixed reviews. I was gonna look for a YouTube comment, but somebody on YouTube said, "Yo, but like this episode was a whole lot of nothing," which was funny, and I laughed. And you know what? Whoever wrote that, thank you for the engagement. You're just gonna help us in the algorithms. But nah, it's interesting that most people have told me that they actually prefer the Friday episodes compared to the Tuesday episodes. And that's something that I never thought would happen. I never thought that people would actually, I never thought that people would actually enjoy like listening to my brain, if that makes sense. Eh, Similar to most people, I think like I sound like I tell myself, like my thoughts make no sense. I feel like I'm going in a tangent. I tried to start talking about this point. I end up talking about 20 other things. And then I try to tie it back. And I think I'm decent at tying it back and getting back to the main point. But I also just tell myself a lot of those stories around um it just not making sense. So the irony of people not only resonating it, but feeling seen and heard and uh just enjoying it. Like that is such a weird feeling as someone who really just wanted to start posting these to normalize journaling and normalize just like getting your thoughts out. The fact that people are actually enjoying this, besides that person in the YouTube comments, it is so interesting to me. And I haven't looked at the data to see, are people listening to these more than the others? But some people even told me some people specifically told me that they only listen to the Friday episodes compared to the Tuesday ones, which I'm like, yo, if this takes over that, like, is this what the podcast is gonna be? I don't know. Anyway, but that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Today, I always ask myself, how am I feeling? How do I want to feel? And today I'm feeling serendipitous. And you know what? I'm actually even gonna look up the definition. Oh, my laptop's about to die. Where's that charger? Hold on. I don't know what percentage, but that joint looking low, low. Serendipity. No, not the film. Give me a definition. Let me give you the definition to serendipity. Serendipity. Um, let me see. The occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. A fortunate stroke of a fortunate stroke of serendipity. That's like the example or the sentence that it gave me. And I'm feeling that way in particular because I just got a box yesterday, a delivery full of the new merch that we're gonna launch. I'm wearing one right now. If you're watching on video, I'm wearing the Plural Workers Union shirt. That's one of them. There's a back design as well, but you'll see it on the gram when I post it. Anyway, I think about you I've said this before in reference to myself how I am a done is better than perfect kind of guy. I'm not a perfectionist and I just want to I just want to test things. I just want to try things. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable and I'm cool with like failing or not that it's fun, but I'm okay with it because I I just believe in everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer of everything happens for a reason. And I'm a big believer of even if I don't know why I'm doing this right now, I'm a believer that like eventually I'll figure out why I did that thing previously, you know? So, for example, even when I think about, and I'm going to try to pull some examples. So, even when I think about the merch, this isn't the first time that I've made merch. This isn't the first time that I've launched merch. And at the time, I thought I was doing it for one reason. But in reality, I think that, okay, here we go, here we go. So at the time, I first launched the brand with art and apparel. That's what I thought my monetization strategy was going to be before I even dreamed of having a tech product, right? And at first, I had some ideas for designs and I commissioned people essentially to make some of the designs. Some of them I just made on my own on like Canva. And I didn't control the quality of the design or of the shirts, right? I didn't. So I essentially uploaded a design to what is called a drop shipper. And this company would make the shirts, they would handle the delivery, all of those kind of things, right? And I did order some designs to have on hand as inventory, but for the most part, the shirts would be made when someone ordered them, right? And see, this is one of those examples of like, I don't even know what the hell I was trying to say with this, but I don't know where I was trying to say with this. Oh, yes, here we go. Okay, so so I would sell most of them online, but one of the things that I did was also I did these like pop-ups at these markets. So if you've ever been to the Brooklyn Museum in New York in the summertime, they have markets where small businesses come and like sell their goods. So people are selling candles and, shirts and sweatshirts and food and whatever, right? All types of like rugs, whatever, and everything and anything, right? And I didn't really know. I mean, sorry, I knew why I was doing it. At the time, I was doing it because I wanted to sell these shirts, right? But in reality, now that I look back at it, I kind of think that that was training for the conferences and events that I'll probably be doing these days, right? So as I'm building this tech company and I'm trying to sell the technology to HR teams, so it could be part of employee benefits packages, I see a lot of other companies going to HR specific tech conferences because there's going to be people in the room and they're looking around and they're saying like, "Oh, what's the new tech out there?" right? So instead of imagining small businesses at the Berkeley Museum doing this, imagine Calm and Headspace having a booth at these conferences and selling their technology, right? And I tell myself, like, yo, what if that was my first time? What if my first time having a booth was at this tech conference, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, what a rookie would I have been at this conference? Meanwhile, me already having done various markets already. I've done, I don't know, a handful of them. I don't know how many of them, right? But and at a lower cost, right? Because to get a booth or a table at these small business pop-ups, they're like, I don't know, a couple $100. To get a table at one of these conferences, a couple $1,000, right? But in a low cost way, I'm able to observe certain things. And remember, my goal wasn't to go there to do research. My goal was to go there to sell shirts. But thinking back at it, I actually picked up a lot of like useful skills and experience that I would have never picked up otherwise. Right. So I was able to observe, why are people stopping here? Why are people staying here? What questions are they asking? What made them ultimately want to purchase something? Where was the confusion? I mean, I was able to even practice something with an audience that didn't know me, like my elevator pitch. Like, oh, somebody approaches the table. They're like, oh, what's going on here? Like, what's your business about? And I would say something. They'd be like, oh, huh, and walk away. And then I'm like, oh, shit, that didn't work. All right, let me try something else. Blah, blah, blah. This is what it's about. And they're like, oh, interesting. Oh, cool. And they would stay. You know what I mean? Like, or simple things like in the summer, it was in the summer and it was outdoors and people would be walking around with their dogs. And a simple thing that I never thought about, but I saw at someone else's booth was they had a little water bowl. And if the dog stopped at the water bowl to drink, that means that the owner of the dog had to stop as well. And it forced them to like look at what you were selling. And I was like, oh, right. That was interesting. Or even, at the booth, there's things like your display. I had like a big like vertical poster that had a bunch of information on it, right? And I get to see like, oh, are people stopping for that? Are they reading that? Or are they stopping at the table and looking at the actual merchandise, right? I'm just saying that like if I never launched the clothing line at first and I never put myself in the position to do these uncomfortable things like setting up a table of at like a pop-up, like maybe I wouldn't even know what I'm doing when I do like these tech conferences. Not even maybe I wouldn't know what I'm doing, but now I feel like I have a leg up on the competition that has never done some of these things. And it's one of those things that like at the time I didn't think about that, you know? But it's just like you never know what you're setting yourself up for in the future, good and bad. But I think a lot of I think a lot about the good and the positive aspects of those things. I even think about like this episode that I'm recording right now. I remember at one point I just went on my roof and started not with a camera. I think the first one that I did was just with a wireless mic. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna record myself talking to myself. I was like, maybe this is a different way for me to get my thoughts out instead of writing it. I was like, fuck it, let's just try it. I don't know if I'm posting. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. And I didn't end up posting any of it. But I didn't know that that was gonna lead to like I thought I was gonna take that and maybe get my thoughts out. At best, I'll make like an Instagram or like TikTok clip out of it. I didn't know that that was gonna lead to me building up the muscle and comfort to just get my thoughts out on audio and video instead of writing them down. I didn't know that. I didn't know that that exercise of at first a little bit uncomfortable was going to lead to me making podcast episodes that now people even enjoy more than the original episodes. I would have never thought of that. And I think if I did think about it that deeply and that like long term, I probably wouldn't have even started, you know? I would have been over analyzing things. I would have been overthinking things. And instead, I was just like focused on the present, what felt right, what I wanted to do. Yeah. But thinking about it now, I'm like, yo, thank God I just did that random thing because now look where I'm at. I mean, there's so many examples of this. I'll try to get another one because I told myself when I was, I just in my head, I'm like, I should do three. Three's a good number. Um, oh my God, the the pop-ups, the Vergüenza tour pop-ups at coffee shops, where I'm just like, I'm gonna record like a 10 to 15 minute version of the podcast episodes instead of doing like an hour long conversation. At first, like I didn't really know the right format. I didn't know if I was gonna do photo and audio, I still don't know how I'm gonna post them. I have three people that I recorded and I haven't posted it yet because I don't really know what I want to do with it. And at the time, I didn't think they were gonna be podcast episodes. I just thought like I want to scale the number of stories that we share. And if I do an hour, like that's not gonna I want to do them at scale, hence less time, more stories. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? Let me just try something. The easiest would be not doing video. Let me just try with audio and I'll take a picture. Right. And lately I've been feeling a little, let's just say tired of recording hour-long episodes. Like, and it's not that I'm not enjoying them. They're fun. I get to meet amazing, dope people and get to know them on a level that I wouldn't have previously. I get to share their stories. I love all that. But I mean, think about it. I've been doing it for the past 3, 4 years. So, I mean, you do any job for that long, and it's just like, yo. And I've even offloaded some of the work to very talented editor. Shout out to Sarah. But that doesn't take away the work of now traveling and you're recording in person, and it is just work, right? And now I'm debating with the idea of, maybe I just start releasing like shorter episodes instead of like the hour-long episodes. Still accomplishes the goal of sharing someone's story. Maybe it'll be easier to clip, easier to edit, easier to write. Although I don't know, but I didn't have that in mind when I first started. So there I am trying this new thing, not really knowing what it's going to look like, what the output is going to be, if people are going to like it, if I'm going to like it. And that was months ago. Meanwhile, now I'm at a point where I'm starting to think like maybe those should be the episodes. But if I would have never tried that first, if I would have never launched those like coffee shop tour pop-ups, I would have never potentially had some sort of exit strategy or plan B when I got to the point when I was tired. Like, you know what I mean? Like, instead, maybe I would have been tired and scrambling for like a plan B and trying to figure it out. Now I'm just like, maybe I've already figured it out because I've already tried it. I've already done it. You know, it is one of those things that like you just got to put yourself in some uncomfortable situations, not really knowing at the time why you're doing it, but eventually you'll realize that it helped you in some way. Yeah, like yeah, like you'll just have a moment about like, oh, that's why I did that. Thank God. And it's funny 'cause I'm not even religious. It just feels right as a phrase. Thankfully, I did that before because now I'm ready. It's one of those like, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Ooh, put that on a shirt. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so To wrap this up, I know how I feel. I feel serendipitous, if that's a word. I want to continue feeling uncomfortable. Like, I want to continue putting myself in uncomfortable situations. And in a weird way, like, I don't want to be forward thinking about it. Because that's when I get anxious. My anxiety is really the manifestation of me not being in the present and me thinking about the future of like, wow, how's this gonna look? What is this gonna impact my future? Blah blah blah, right? And me then trying to predict the future, and then that's how I start creating these fictional stories in my head, right? As long as I can continue sticking, it sounds weird, but it makes sense to me. As long as I can continue sticking in an uncomfortable present, I'll be growing. It sounds very weird saying it out loud, uncomfortable present. And it doesn't, when I say uncomfortable present, it doesn't have to be your whole day. It could be a couple minutes out of the day, but to be present and to do it without thinking about the future. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to, do something illegal. But yeah, I think we overthink so many things and end up not doing it, and then we never get to that serendipitous moment. All right, that's a wrap, y'all. Enjoy your weekends, and see you next week, Tuesday.